Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are filming once again in Osaka in Japan, and you're going to see another 2 or 3 Japanese reviews over the next couple of days, and I've filmed a couple of sake reviews for you as well that will appear over the next couple of weeks as well. Unfortunately I was a little bit limited on filming time here in Osaka, so I hope you enjoy this very mini series that I'm doing for you. But for this particular review we're going to go back to a brewery who I feel do some very nice kind of high alcohol dark beers, and I only introduced you guys to this brewery, you know, maybe a month or so ago, something like that, but this is a brewery who I rate very highly. So for this one we're going to go back to Shimane Beer Co to have a look at another one of their beer Hearn range, and this one in particular is the Chocolat number 7, which comes in this really interesting hexagonal box, if you like. So it's an Imperial Stout using a Belgian yeast, coming in at 9% ABV. This one is released every year, just a few weeks, if you like, before Valentine's Day, and apparently the idea is that girlfriends will buy this one for their boyfriends, but my girlfriend didn't buy this for me. I bought it myself from liquor shop Asahiya in Taishibashi Imaichi in Osaka. This was one that Koji said I really need to try. It was a little bit more expensive. It was 900 yen, but I mean, for about £7, you know, it's kind of worth it. I would spend more than that on a big Imperial Stout, either in Sweden or back home in Scotland, of course. So really looking forward to trying this one. It's a brewery I've had very good experiences with in the past, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Shimane Beer Company and their beer Hearn range. Hopefully I can add some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Japanese beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Shimane Beer Company then. So on to my brewery notes. Shimane Beer Company was founded back in 1996, and they're based in Matsue City in Shimane Prefecture. And so this is close to Izumo, which is home to the Izumo Taishi Shinto Shrine, one of the most important ones in Japan. In fact, as I've told you on the channel before, Japanese people are a combination of Buddhist and Shinto. It really kind of depends on the occasion. But this brewery is very small, and it only has 3 employees, but they still manage to produce a year-round beer range and also some special kind of limited edition beers such as this one here. But all of the beers have an image of Patrick Lefkadio Hearn, who is known by the Japanese name Koizumi Yakumo, and he was a Greek author known for his books about Japanese legends and ghost stories, and he lived in Matsue City and taught English for a few years back in the beginning in 1890, for a few decades beyond that. But the president of the company is Yano Manubo, who studied engineering at university before working for a large sake brewery. He apparently wanted to become a brewmaster, but he never had the opportunity, and so he mainly worked in maintenance in the company as well. But in 1996 he read about a local effort to start up a beer brewery, so he left his sake brewery company and went to work with the beer brewery. But he was sent to Hiroshima to study brewing, and the company eventually launched in 1999 with Yano acting as production manager with three other brewers underneath him. But the brewery struggled initially, and in 2002 Yano transferred to a partner sake company before returning to the brewery in 2004. But the brewery still struggled, and after attending beer festivals in Osaka and Yokohama, they became a little bit more well known and business began to pick up for them. This apparently was the big problem with a lot of the little G-Biru breweries that started out in the very late 90s. But Yano became president of the company in 2011, and in 2012 they recruited Oishi Yasufumi as their head brewer, and since then they've gone from strength to strength. They've been releasing a lot of new kind of special edition beers, and their core range of beers has continued to grow actually and become a lot more well recognised, in fact. So this is one of the Japanese breweries who are, you know, they're a little bit older in the game, if you like. They're a little bit more well established, and it's definitely one of the ones that you want to check out, particularly if you're into your kind of high alcohol beers, because that seems to be, for at least in my opinion, where these guys really shine. So yeah, check out the brewery website in the description below. That's all the information I'm able to give you about the brewery just now. There's not too much information available, in fact, and that's always the case when it comes to these Japanese companies. But you can check out the Facebook and the Instagram. That will keep you up to date with all the latest goings on at the brewery, and you can check out their website and stuff, and that will give you a little bit more of a kind of in-depth thing about the brewery as well. But like I mentioned to you at the start of the video, this one is a 9% Imperial Stout. It's brewed with a Belgian Saison yeast in the primary fermentation, and they add a little bit of Belgian chocolate in the secondary fermentation as well. So yeah, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting. I did open the seal at the back before starting the review, so it was a little bit easier. But as you can see, it's presented in this really nice hexagonal kind of gift pack, if you like, and that's one of the big things in Japan. Gift giving is a huge part of the Japanese culture, and you can see it's one of the things that's always amazed me. Japan is a very environmentally conscious country, but when it comes to packaging and stuff, that's the one place where they really do not care. You always get a hell of a lot of packaging and things like this, regardless of what it is that you buy. But yeah, you can see when you open this beer up, really nice little opening there. So we'll get it out and into the glass. It's got this little kind of protective thing here, which we'll get off. So the beer bottle itself is really nicely presented, very similar to the other Shimane beers that I've had before. There is, you know, Lefkadio Hearn. There, Patrick Lefkadio Hearn, the Greek guy, on the label, but really nicely presented, this one. Quite a shiny label, this, so this might cause a little bit of problems with the camera, but a nice sort of golden foil quality on this. And there you can see the Shimane beer symbol just underneath the foil there too. But let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. I'm really curious just to see how this one turns out. A 9% Imperial Stout brewed with a Belgian Saison yeast. So yeah, lovely presented, this one. This one is the 2018 edition. So I guess Koji must have had this in his shop for a little while actually, but when it's a 9% Imperial Stout, it's certainly going to last quite a long time. So let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting. I'm not sure if I actually let you see the bottle cap of this one properly, but there you go. You can see Shimane Beer, yeah. So, or Hearn Beer I think it says on the top of the label there. Nice little bit of smoke on the opening, and it does want to escape, so we'll get it out and into the glass. And I'll tell you straight away, when you open this one, you get a nice little bit of a bready malty quality there. This one incidentally is just, it did say this is 300 millilitres rather than 330. I was thinking that actually it filled up the glass a little bit less than I thought it would, but we'll stick that there on the side too. But yeah, as you can see, and as you would expect from an Imperial Stout, this one's poured a nice dark ebony rosewood colour. I can smell a good little bit of a sweet fruity note coming off this one just as I move the beer around. If I put my fingers behind the glass, there you can see it's not really transparent in the slightest. This is a very dark beer, this one. If I hold it up to the light, I think it is actually very hazy. You can see a nice kind of Coca-Cola chestnut coloured edge to this one. There's a solid 1/3 finger of a frothy, I would say medium tan head to this beer, but nothing particularly surprising about this beer in terms of its appearance when you consider that it is an Imperial Stout. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it does look very, very nice, and you know, kind of what you would expect from a nice Imperial Stout from Shimane Beer. So yeah, nothing overly surprising about this one in terms of its appearance. So let's take a closer look at that aroma then and just see how we get on with this one. Oh, right. Now, this is definitely one of the more kind of brown bready stouts that I've come across. You can really feel like a very toasty brown bread crusty type quality coming out of this one. Definitely a nice big bit of a sweet chocolate in there though. Quite a milky chocolate, but also some of the higher cocoa, the higher percentage cocoa chocolates, you know, 80-90% kind of thing. You can really smell that coming out of this one. It's almost a little bit like a kind of Ferrero Rocher type thing coming out of this beer. So a lot of these nice high alcohol content, these nice sort of high alcohol content, it's very much like a kind of boozy cake. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. A nice big boozy chocolate cake aroma is what you're going to get out of this, but a lot of nice kind of roasty, toasty brown bread crust, high cocoa chocolates in there, some milkier chocolate as well. A lot of nice brown sugar. This one definitely has a sort of treacle molasses presence to it as well. But definitely some sort of sweeter caramel, maybe a little touch of phenol, which, you know, if it's a Belgian yeast they're using in there, you could come to expect. Phenol gives you the impression of a sort of, you know, cough syrupy type thing. But yeah, a really interesting blend of flavours coming out of this one, that's for sure. Yeah, really nice big sort of medicinal quality coming out of this beer. Nice bready base to it, as I said. In terms of the hoppiness, you can pick out a good little bit of earthiness in there. There's a little touch of a grassy floral kind of thing, but that's quite minimal behind the chocolate, the bread crust and all the other darker elements of the beer. But some nice juicy fruity notes. It's got a little bit of a raisiny sharpness, some kind of plummy notes in there too. Definitely a nice little bit of a juicier figgy and red currant type note as well. Definitely some raisiny sharpness as well. So yeah, it's a really interesting blend of aromas, this one. As I always say, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck in. But this is one that definitely has a good level of complexity to it. So take a little bit of time and just enjoy that before you taste it. I'm really curious just to see how this beer turns out. This is going to be a really interesting one. So this one, pardon me, is the Chocolat number 7, 2018 edition. Me again, getting a lot of gas at the moment for some reason. Hiccups. So yeah, a nice Imperial Stout coming in at 9% ABV from Shimane Beer Company, their beer Hearn range in Shimane Prefecture in Matsue City here in Japan. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål, kanpai. Yeah, that's a really nice beer, that actually. I'm drinking this one about sort of 12 degrees. I took it out of the fridge, you know, about half an hour ago, so I thought the fridge would have been about 5-6 degrees, so it's probably up around 10-12 degrees at the moment, and it comes across very, very nicely. So yeah, straight away with this beer, you're going to notice the Belgian yeast coming out of this one. There's a lovely, big, sort of fruity note at the front of your tongue as well. We'll focus on the bready side of the beer just now. So yeah, nice, big, bready quality, just blanket in the middle of your tongue. The further you go into the aftertaste, the more this comes across as a sort of brown bread. It definitely has a little bit of that really toasty, well-fired bread crust quality to it as well. And the middle of your palate definitely dries out the further that you go into the flavour as well. There's a nice kind of brown sugary note to this one as well. It's a little bit of a kind of treacly molasses thing, and in fairness, the more that you drink of this beer, the more that sweetens up and becomes a more kind of straight up caramel actually. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a kind of treacle molasses kind of thing to this beer. It comes out, so in the very centre of your palate you've got that quite dark, oily treacle molasses there, and as you move further out from the centre of your palate, it becomes a little bit lighter and more caramel, and even a little bit biscuity at the same time. And then the further you go into the aftertaste, it dries out, and you get a little bit more of that kind of roasty, toasty bread crust type thing coming out of this beer. This is definitely one that starts off very sweet and it just dries out the further you go into the aftertaste, but it definitely has a very nice, big, smooth, bready base to it, if you like. I like how all that kind of comes together. Yeah, this one really is pretty nice. It really reminds me a lot of a Belgian stout, to be honest with you. I mean, I've had a couple of those. The Golden Drac, was it the Brewmaster's edition that was called? This beer actually reminds me quite a little bit of that, but it's not quite as well-rounded in some ways. But I do like how this one kind of goes together. At the same time, you know, this is one of the things I've always said about Japanese craft beers. They're always very full in flavour, but they do retain that little bit of lightness just to make them that little touch more drinkable. And I think if they'd abandoned that idea of having a little bit of drinkability and given this one a slightly thicker mouthfeel, it would be really bang on in terms of what Golden Drac pulled off a couple of months back, in fact. So it's an interesting point. This is definitely a Japanese take on that on a Belgian stout, but it works really well in my mind. So thumbs up to Shimane Beer once again for a really nice beer here. But that's only talking about the malty side of the beer. We've not talked too much about the hoppy side of things or the fruitiness that can come out here. So yeah, on the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness there. That spreads forward a little bit. There maybe is a tiny little touch of a herbal quality there, and as you reach the front corners of the palate, you've got a nice sort of floral aromaticity. Then around the very front curve of the tongue, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy in my mind. And behind that front curve of the palate, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where those juicy, fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer. And this is where it gets really interesting. This beer definitely has a little bit of that kind of boozy, cakey kind of thing, that sort of brandy cake quality, that sort of cough medicine, cough syrup type thing coming out of it as well. So it's a really interesting combination of flavours in there. But the fruity side of the beer does start to lean towards the kind of raisiny sharpness. There's a little bit of a more juicy figgy and red berry quality that comes out the further you go into the aftertaste as well. But really, this beer for me is leaning towards the juicier side of the fruits and the sharper side of things from the raisins. But I like how this one goes together. It's a really interesting combination of flavours, and it really leans towards that kind of Belgian stout quality. So thumbs up to Shimane Beer for having a go at this one. They've pulled off a really quite interesting beer, I have to say, and I'm you know, really impressed with how they've managed to pull this off. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel then, I would describe this beer as definitely a full-bodied beer. Carbonation does have a little bit of a prickle to it. As I mentioned to you earlier, Japanese beers do tend to have that. They tend to be very full in flavour, but they do have that little bit of crispness to them that just kind of carries them through a little bit and gives them that element of drinkability. So a little bit lighter than you might normally expect from a Belgian stout, but still quite full-bodied. In terms of hoppy bitterness, I would say you're talking about 40 or 50 IBUs with this one, some from the malt base, some from the hoppy side of things. Good little bit of malty sweetness to this one, but it does dry out the further you go into the palate, and it's got a nice little bit of a fruity sharpness to it, particularly the further you go into the aftertaste. But overall, a really, really nice beer, and interesting to try my first Japanese brewed Belgian stout. So yeah, thumbs up to Shimane Beer for this one. And I will be keeping a close eye on what high alcohol beers these guys do in the future. I'd love to see them have a go at Scotch ale or something like that. I think that would be a very interesting experiment for them, and hopefully that's one that I can review for you in the fairly near future. But yeah, let's leave it at that. So this one was the Chocolat No. 7 from the Beer Hearn range from Shimane Beer in Matsue City in Shimane Prefecture here in Japan. A really interesting one this, and I thought this was a good beer to kick off this little Japan mini-series that you'll see over the next couple of days. I wish I'd had more time to film when I was here. I would have liked to film a whole week of Japanese beers for you, but you know, this is just kind of how it goes. I filmed a good bit of sake reviews, so you can keep an eye on those over the next the next couple of months. But thank you again for watching my beer reviews. As always, please let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from the Beer and Hearn range at Shimane Beer Company, and as always, check out my social media, and I'll catch you guys very soon. This is the Chocolat No. 7, a 9% Imperial chocolate stout, a Belgian stout basically if you want to go into the nitty gritty of it, from Shimane Beer Company, their Beer Hearn range in Matsue City in Shimane Prefecture here in Japan. Until the next time, it's Landry just now, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Make sure you check out this beer if you can, and definitely check out this brewery for some of its more kind of special, unorthodox brews. They've got a really nice sake rice beer that they do every so often as well. Until the next time, it's Landry just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Slange, Skull, Kampai, check out this beer. Cheers.